Young Pyromancer to go with Krinko's Command, and then just moves all in on Dynacharge. It's crazy.
Yeah, he even has Weapon Surge. That's how deep he is on Dynacharge.
Yeah, he wants to make as many guys as possible and kill AJ as fast as possible. As humanly possible.
Yeah.
I missed that pun. I had to come back to it. Got it? All right, so Foundry Tree Denizen off the top for Drew Levin. This should be an interesting one.
AJ has no one-drop, but he has a Gather the Townsfolk, which should clog up the ground in kind of an obnoxious way for Drew.
Yeah. Looks like Drew does have a Stromkirk Noble, which he's probably deploying this turn.
I can only imagine that card is good in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, when every opposing creature is a human, it's not bad.
Not bad at all.
We'll say not bad, but
Mutavault comes down.
Maybe it's a Young Pyromancer. And we're going to get to see the new uncommon from M14 do some work.
Drew may be slow rolling this Noble to see if he can pull a Tragic Slip from AJ's hand.
Yeah, that's possible. Although I think it's possible that the Young Pyromancer might be more important than the Stromkirk Noble, simply because it can help you match the token generation from the white-black human deck. However, its unblockability is going to be important, hopefully in the later turns of the game for Drew. Get in last few couple points of damage, grow it to an enormous size.
Yeah, it's also worth noting that AJ can make zombie tokens or spirit tokens and easily block. Cartel Aristocrat's a vampire.
Yeah, I mean, he has some stuff going on. No, Cartel Aristocrat's a human. There's Bloodthorn Vampire.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. I mean, there are a few things. However, the zombies off of Xanthan the Necromancer actually come into play tapped. So even if he was able to play Xanthan the Necromancer and a Sacrifice Outlet.
Blood Artist, that's the vampire.
Oh, yeah. The 0/1 can block, sure.
Well, yeah, it can chump block. One of the issues was that the old green-white, or the Naya Blitz decks even, just had no way at all to block that card. No way at all to interact with Stromkirk Noble.
Yeah, so Black-White Humans is very similar to Junk Aristocrats in that against these aggressive decks, it just wants to clog up the board as much as possible. You want to play all these token generators, all these creatures like Cartel Aristocrat to just gum up the board, play as defensively as possible until you're able to overwhelm them with just basically card advantage from things like Lingering Souls. On the top end, AJ has access to Sorin, Lord of Innistrad, and he just wants to trade 2-for-1s as much as possible in the combat zone, and Drew is kind of forced into it because he doesn't have a whole lot of interaction.
Yeah, no Seismic Stomps or Pirate Heart Wolves going on today.
No.
AJ Sacher appropriately using Jerry Thompson tokens with his deck.
Yeah, they are humans. However, I think it's actually a black human, so he should be using Mike Flores's. But I don't think he would use Mike Flores's. It's okay.
Mutavault, Cartel Aristocrat, and 1/1 human token to Drew Levin's Young Pyromancer, Stromkirk Noble, and Firefist Striker.
Yeah, and
AJ looking at a lot of options here. Opting to play Blood Artist, leave up Mutavault and pass. Mutavault cannot block this Stromkirk Noble. It is also a human.
Right. Yeah, and that's one of the interesting things about Mutavault is that it is all creature types. And for those of you who didn't play back when it first came out in Morningtide, I believe, it's an insane card. It works really well with things like fairies, Spellstar Sprite, and Mistbind Click specifically. But it is all creature types, so it was played in elf decks that had lords and various other things. And Kithkin, that also had lords. And now we see it doing work in the new standard format alongside other human-based strategies. I've seen it in an elf deck with Elvish Archdruid already and some other stuff. But it looks like Drew's going to get in for one with a Noble and make some 1/1s.
Make 3 1/1s due to the Young Pyromancer trigger. I actually heard of a really sweet one today. A player was activating Mutavault in response to Descendants Path trigger.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That's an interesting thing because Descendants Path, if you don't know what it does, we'll try to pull it up on screen for you in just a second. It's an enchantment.
Yep.
What does it do?
2 and a green. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may look at the top part of your library. If it shares a creature type with a creature you control, reveal it and cast it.
Right, so since Mutavault's every creature type from being a changeling-esque, I guess, no, it's not changeling, it just says every creature type.
Yep.
You get to play whatever the top card is for free as long as it's a creature. So interesting combo with things like Worldspine Worm, maybe Emrakul in older formats, but not really like a tier 1 strategy by any means, but just definitely flashy. Cool. Yeah, it's definitely sweet.
So Drew followed up his Krenko's Command for 3 1/1s with a second Firefist Striker, bringing his board to 3 tokens, Young Pyromancer, Stromkirk Noble with a counter, and 2 Firefist Strikers. AJ's struggling a bit to keep up, actually. But he plays a second Blood Artist, 2 Blood Artists, 2 Cartel Aristocrats, a human token, and a Mutavault for him. Mutavault being tapped.
Yeah. It's pretty evident that he doesn't have a Tragic Slip here. I think he would have definitely wanted to, kill the Stormcurt Noble earlier. And now it looks like Drew has a Dynacharge in hand.
And a Hell Rider.
But, the Cartel Aristocrats can get protection from red. AJ doesn't really want to block with the Blood Artist anyway, so Firefist striking those is not going to be a huge deal. And the life loss that Drew's going to get, hit by the Blood Artist is also going to drain AJ back up to a reasonable life total. So I don't think this attack is even close to lethal. And if Drew moves all in, he could lose a bunch of his creatures for basically no gain, maybe to kill a 1/1 or something.
If he Firefist strikers both of the Aristocrats, it's actually very possible that AJ has to sacrifice some of his Blood Artists, some of his, maybe his Mutavault, maybe his human token to keep them for red so they can block. Drew could just slam the Hell Rider down, shove with everybody, deal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, putting AJ to 11. But AJ could drain back for a very significant amount. AJ's actually representing 11 points of drain.
This seems strange.
It looks like Drew missed the damage there by playing Hell Rider second main.
Yeah, like he didn't want to move in on the Hell Rider. Maybe he was planning on, maybe... there's no way he was going to Dynacharge. I think he just missed the point.
Yeah,
he had the option to, I guess, but...
Yeah. AJ sitting on the ability to sacrifice... Let's see. Mutavault, token, Aristocrat, another guy. So it's 8, 9... Wow. That's a lot of burn.
Yeah, he may even have a third Blood Artist in hand. I thought I saw a black card.
Would that be lethal?
It's possible. He can give both of his Aristocrats protection from red, sacrificing the Mutavault and the human.
Yep.
That's 6 damage right there. 10 from the 2 Aristocrats. Then he can sack one of the Aristocrats. That's 13. Sack a Blood Artist.
One short.
That's 15 or 16. Excuse me. And then I don't know. It's pretty close.
It's one short. So sacrificing the artist down the chain does 3, 2, 1. So he had gotten to 6, 13 without sacrificing them, and that makes it an additional 6.
Well, also, instead of activating the Cartel Aristocrats, what he can do is just jam in with the human and the Mutavault, and maybe that's like a little more extra damage, and that gets the push, because either, Drew blocks and trades off creatures.
Drew can't block at all.
Yeah. He basically can't block, so...
Well, the Hell Rider can block.
Sure. So you can block one of them, he'd have to take 5 damage from Cartel, Human, and Mutavault, and then, lose a ton of stuff. Take a lot of life loss. It looks like that's what he's going to be doing here. That's the third Blood Artist. I think if he moves in here, he might have it, but I think...
Yeah, I think if he actually just attacked with all of his guys, I have no idea what Drew could do to win that game. I think Drew actually just dies in the spot. Instead, Drew's going to have a chance to Dynacharge.
Yeah, so...
Mutavault mans up. And Drew just shoves with everybody.
Why not?
Haphazardly.
Why not?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to the face.
Yeah,
AJ dropping to 8.
Yep. And
2
then,
Firefist Striker triggers on the stack. Targeting a Blood Artist and a human token. Yeah, it doesn't really matter what he targets, I guess, is my concern or thought.
Alright, so we only have 3 blockers here, and while AJ can gain a lot of life from the sacrifices pre-damage, this Dynacharge is probably going to be lethal. It's some astronomical amount of damage, and AJ is going to... I don't even want to count. So it was 3 per creature plus, so 3, 6, 9
it's
plus 4.
12.
I'm sorry?
If he doesn't block with the Blood Artist, it's 12. If he blocks with the Blood Artist, it's 2 more each, and then that's not even counting the power of the creatures that gets through.
Yeah.
Yeah, AJ's taking a lot. I could see him actually surviving this attack.
I think the only way he survives this attack is if he blocks with the Blood Artist that can block. And, I actually want to go back over the board state maybe after this game and try to figure out whether or not AJ could have actually won, and seeing, if he attacked with all of his creatures, it would have killed Drew.
So if he attacks with all of his creatures, Drew can... So Drew's line is...
Block Cartel.
Right. And then any other creature he blocks the second Cartel
does an
with
extra
dies.
3 damage.
Right.
Yeah,
so, that alone is... I'll have to go over it, because we're missing damage on the Cartel attacks, actually. Let's see.
Well, one of the cartels still dies, but we get in one more damage from because we're attacking with a mutavault and a human, right?
Right.
So maybe that's it.
Yeah, there's 2 extra 2-power guys. Something dies on a block.
Right. Well, regardless, he didn't
we'll
do
think
it.
about that later.
He didn't do it, so we're in the middle of some savage combat here. Drew Levin looking to take down game 1 with a Dyna Charge, dealing approximately 1 billion damage. AJ does have a way to sacrifice a lot of creatures here to not die.
Drew representing 22 on block power at the moment.
Yeah, but AJ is gaining 3 per sacrifice from the Cartel Aristocrat, so he can sack a human, a Mutavault, and a Cartel Aristocrat, gaining 9, and then sacrificing 1 Blood Artist.
AJ has 15
12.
total life gain, which is going to be AJ at 1.
Right, and any Blood Artists that remain in play, though, if the Firefish Strikers do end up dying here in combat, then that could be. Oh, he's still declaring blockers. So I think he's trying to figure out how to not die to the Dyna Charge here. And he may be able to figure it out and then attack back for the win next turn.
Yeah. Well, it depends what lives, because.
Well, at least 1 Cartel Aristocrat is going to survive.
Exactly, 1 Cartel Aristocrat is going to survive, I feel like. So AJ is currently representing 8 life, taking a Mutavault, 3 tokens, and a Young Pyromancer. So that's 7 power, and then another 10. So 17 total from this Dyna Charge.
Actually, okay. So if AJ survives this attack, he's going to be left with a Cartel. He goes. If he puts a Blood Artist in front of the Stromkirk Noble, this is insane. All right. So and then once Drew Dyna charges, he sacrifices the human that couldn't block, 1 of the Cartel Aristocrats, the Mutavaults, and 1 of the Blood Artists. That's 12. That puts him back up to 20. I'm not sure if that pads him quite enough.
No.
The second Blood Artist trigger, however, gets him an extra 2.
No. Still not enough. Drew has
2.
If he
4,
does not.
6, 8. Oh, sorry. 3, 6, 9, 12, 14. And also, if a Blood Artist survives too, though, the Firefish Strikers triggers from dying will trigger as well. So.
Yeah, the way I did the math here is that Drew is going to be hitting 21 damage in if he Dyna charges here.
Well, and AJ can survive that, so.
Yeah, AJ can exactly survive it with an Aristocrat, and that is all left over. And Drew will have a Young Pyromancer back to block, a token from that off the Dyna charge.
Yeah, I think that. All right. So we're gonna Dyna charge. So it's 3, 6, 9, 13.
22.
The Young Pyromancer got blocked, I thought, did it not?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so...
The Mutavault blocked the Hellrider. He has sacked the Mutavault and the human token. There's been a lot of moving pieces this turn.
Yeah.
So, the blocks were Mutavault blocks Hellrider, Cartel Aristocrats block Firefish Strikers.
Oh, and he didn't block the Stromkirk Noble with a Blood Artist.
Not block it with a Blood Artist. So the Dyna charge here is putting 22 power into play. AJ is capable of draining another 3, 6, 9 from Drew and leaving himself with a Cartel Aristocrat and promptly dying.
No, he can drain 3 from 1 Cartel, 3 from another Blood Artist, and then 2 and then 1. Is that it?
That's
okay.
9.
All right, figured it out.
Okay.
Gonna be left at 1 life.
Okay. Yeah, that was
I think if he blocked with the Blood Artist, he probably would have won this game.
Let's see. If he blocks with the Blood Artist, Drew is attacking for 17. AJ has to sack Cartel and a single Blood Artist and gets to keep 2 Blood Artists.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's enough to win. 1 Cartel and 2 Blood Artists with Drew at about the same
But
life.
if he's left with a Blood Artist in play, then he also gets to trade off with the Firefish Striker. Next turn, if he draws like any creature, he can sack it, give per red attack, and then drain for an extra couple.
That's 2. So Drew's going to do 5 off of these drains. So that would have been an extra 2, putting Drew to 3. And so AJ would still be 1 short off any random creature. Yeah. Okay. Now that we figured out all that math, AJ is done. Drew also forgot to put a token into play for the Pyromancer.
That wouldn't matter at that point.
Sure.
But yes.
It could have ended up mattering if blocks had gone differently. So.
Correct. So Drew Levin takes down game 1 in a absurdly massive combat with
Blood Artist triggers and Dyna Charge and Hell Rider and all sorts of crazy stuff. Where Drew was dealing 31 damage that combat.
AJ managed to put himself at 32 life over the course of that, and then promptly died.
Yeah,
Okay.
Dyna Charge is not bad.
So
That's the moral of the story, kids.
Yes.
Dyna Charge ain't so bad.
So Drew's gonna.
Okay, we'll talk about AJ first. He's on the play.
Sure. So profit loss from AJ, it's going to be insane.
Yes.
There are so many X1s out of Drew's deck that just for 3 mana, it's going to be a one-sided Wrath of God. I don't think there's too much more other than maybe Doomblade. I guess it's really good against Hellrider, but it doesn't seem great against much else in Drew's deck. It's possible he just wants as much removal as possible. He also has an Obsidian that he can bring in, so if he's able to get to the late game, he can maybe stabilize with a couple points of life swing.
Okay, I think he wants the Doomblades.
I think he wants to kill this young Pyromancer.
Yeah.
So Drew
has Electrickery.
Is that
that
good?
good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh,
one
well-
side has profit loss, the other side has Electrickery. We'll see who draws it and who wins.
Drew is 3.
And
Drew is 3.
That's fine.
Well, the other thing too is that AJ can board an Intangible Virtue.
Sure.
If he knows, AJ and Drew know each other pretty well.
Yeah.
If he knows Drew's list, he might level Drew on that one. Intangible Virtue is also just fine as a way to boost your guys into trading for Burning Tree Emissaries or Rakdos Cacklers, and also being able to attack Drew and block at the same time, which is really important because closing the game against a red deck prevents them from doing things like what happened last game.
Yeah, and me and AJ actually talked a little bit earlier when he played against a red-green aggro deck, and he talked about siding in Virtue just in the dark, just in case they had Electrickery, because it's not that bad, you know, most of the time. Like you were talking about, it does make your guys that are 1/1s able to trade with other stuff. So he's probably going to hedge and bring it in, which, you know, could just blank all of Drew's Electrickeries, so we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah. Drew also has two Mizian Mortars that he's going to bring in.
He has some Skull Cracks, your favorite.
Yeah. I can't say it, though, because there's not a bleep button.
Oh, really?
Do we have a bleep button? No, we don't have a bleep button. Sorry.
Okay. So
I don't think I'd bring those in there.
No.
even though we saw some
Crazy Blood Artist shenanigans last game.
Yeah, but they're all incremental, like one at a time triggers. You know, I mean,
you
like,
can always
if they're-
stack in response.
Right. So it's not like it actually does all that much.
No, not at all.
One interesting and awesome sideboard card out of Drew's sideboard, which will not be coming in this matchup, is Burning Earth out of M14. The card, I'm sure, has done a ton of work for Drew today. It's insane against all the control decks. It's really good against all the like slower mid-range decks with Thragtusk, making them break even.
Yeah.
You know, it's, you know, if you have any sort of board advantage, it's just very good. I think he actually lost with it in play though against the
Yeah.
Jund deck earlier.
He also
Drew
had
12 lands. And
was it 12? That was the.
It was a lot.
I didn't count. It was just he had them piled up in front of him.
You're telling me that you just counted all that damage just now, and you didn't take the time to count out how many islands? I'm sorry, how many mountains Drew?
Well, he definitely
there?
drew 0 islands, but
Sure.
yeah.
Get out
He-
of here. I'm done.
No, that's easy.
Just multiplication and numbers and things
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, no, the mountains, it was just a lot, and Drew looked miserable.
Right.
So we're going to start game 2, and AJ giving us a little creepy stare there.
I think he's kind of looking off to the side. I didn't see his pupils.
Yeah. I'd put that on AJ just to stare down the camera and make you feel.
Yeah. I always wave. I never know when I'm on camera, so I just like wave every now and then.
Oh,
Just,
yeah. Yeah. I like the flash your opening hand upstairs to the camera.
Yeah, I do that. I do that whenever I miracle something sweet on camera, like Bonfire or Terminus. Or,
The art of showboating is a very important one for any tournament player.
all right, so it looks like AJ is going to be on the play more than likely. I don't think that's
Yeah.
a real decision against Mono
Drawing
Red.
first against red is a quick way to die. Yeah, the last game kind of showcased a lot of what Drew's deck is all about, and a lot of what he's trying to lean on in this matchup.
Especially Stormkirk Noble. I mean, Blood Artist, Bloodthrone Vampire, Lingering Souls, Vampire Tokens. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
not
what
too
we
much.
got.
It's also pretty likely that AJ is siding out Soren just because it's a little too slow in this matchup.
Looks like Drew did board in Skullcrack. He's got
oh.
a Stormkirk Noble on 1 to match AJ's Doom Traveler.
Does AJ crashes for 1?
Contemplating the soft block.
AJ paying 2 life, it looks like.
Yeah, but if he plays a
Another Doom Traveler.
looks like he's got a
Yeah,
tragic
he has
slip.
a tragic slip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No reason to wait. Just get it out of here. No, could
Drew
wait.
loves
Maybe a red cap scale is coming down against the shock 2 pass turn from AJ. Yeah.
So Young Pyromancer comes down for Drew. AJ with 2 Doom Travelers.
He
this
also
game.
just drew an Intangible Virtue, which looks like he has a Lingering Souls in hand too. And if he wants to maybe perhaps wait a turn to play. Yeah, so it looks like he's going to Tragic Slip into Intangible Virtue instead of playing Lingering Souls and leaving it vulnerable to Electrickery. So I think that was a smart play on his part, killing the Young Pyromancer so that he has, board stability as well as protection from Drew's best card against him.
One card I don't see in AJ's deck is Vault of the Archangel. Just want to point that out.
Yeah, it was basically either Vault of the Archangel or Mutavault, and I don't think you can play both because of the crazy amount of color requirements in your deck. And Mutavault is probably just better because of Xanthan Necromancer, because of Blood Artist and things like that. And it very rarely have enough time or mana to activate the Vault.
So Drew Levin had a Rakdos Cackler, but that could not block either of the Doom Travelers, and AJ has the aforementioned Lingering Souls with Intangible Virtue to add a bunch of powers to his board. The Abandon Block Constructed combo.
Yeah. So Drew has a Hell Rider here. I think he also has Electrickery, but that's effectively blanked at the moment.
It's quite bad. If you Electrickery down those Doom Travelers, things do not end well for you.
That's true. But, it may turn out in a turn or two he's too far behind and can't afford to take the damage. So AJ here opting to trade off a Spirit for a Cackler and just max prevent, basically. So.
Yep. Drew passing the turn. Ooh, that's another Intangible Virtue.
Yeah, that seems pretty good. Why is he not playing Intangible Virtue number 2?
Maybe he's got something better.
Maybe it's
Flashback.
Gather the Townsfolk. Nope, it's just Flashback, Lingering Souls.
Yeah,
and
I'd rather
next
just get
turn.
more power into play, attack with them next turn, better block.
Oh,
Skullcrack.
if they try to gain life, blank them. Bleep them. We got Skullcrack. But he didn't even try to gain life, so it doesn't really work.
Yeah, this Skullcrack, this is just an example of when you should not board a Skullcrack, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. This Electrickery's kind of rotting in Drew's hand at the moment. Just
the Intangible
kind of
Virtue
unfortunate.
lineup happened.
Yeah.
Hall Rider shows up to the party right on time.
This is definitely an example of how Hell Rider occasionally does not ride dirty.
Tangible Virtue lands. Drew gets attacked by 11 power. Has to block and upgrades 1 to a Spirit. He's drawing dead. He doesn't want AJ to know that. AJ probably knows it.
Yeah. Tragic Slip post combat on the Hell Rider for value.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Come on,
Just rub it in.
Come on, Blasphemous Act. Okay.
Oh, he'd still be dead.
He didn't have Blasphemous Act.
Oh, he could he Electrickery first. There were just enough creatures, right?
Just enough. All right,
So game 3, Drew will be on the play. Maybe a Stormkirk Noble will live. Maybe it won't. That was a very strong draw we saw out of AJ. It's one of the ways that he can easily beat the red deck. There's many different sequences his deck can run out that defeat the red deck. I'm not saying it's a good matchup. There's a lot of sequences his deck has that don't beat it.
right.
It's just it's how the aristocrat works. You've got a lot of things that do a lot of other things, and you've got a lot of
Stuff that does other stuff.
Yeah.
Let's just be as vague as possible.
No,
Right? Come on.
every turn you take 5 actions to your opponent's 2.
Sure.
And that's how that
And you
works.
also have probably twice as many decisions every turn too,
exactly.
because when you have like a combination like Cartel Aristocrat and any other creature with a hits graveyard ability, you have to sequencing properly is exactly how you win and lose games. Because if you, for example, you have a Doom Traveler and you need to sack a creature pre-combat to give your guy protection from red, and then put 3 power in front of a 3/3 creature or something like that to kill it. If you just, let's say, block with Doom Traveler Cartel and then sack it after blocks, that's just, you just missequence, and then they keep their 3/3 and you end up losing the game because of it. So there's a ton of decisions every single turn, and that is one of the advantages to playing a card like Cartel Aristocrat is that allows you to have more decisions than your opponent, but it also allows your opponent to misplay more easily because you have so many complex interactions going on. But the same can be said for yourself as well, because the more options you have, the more mistakes you're likely to make as well.
Well put.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
We'll let the backup expert on this one explain.
Who's the backup expert?
You.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just like, Cordelling yourself. Like, I'm the backup expert.
Oh no, absolutely not.
So one interesting thing that's not relevant in this matchup per se, but against most of the red-green aggro decks, I watched AJ play against a red-green aggro deck earlier, and he actually sided in Lifebane Zombie on the play, and it didn't make sense to me at first. I was like, well, it's a mono-red deck, and then it clicked. There's so many hybrid creatures in these red-green decks. There's Burning Tree Emissary, Boros Reckoner, Flint Hoof Boar is not hybrid, but it's a green creature. As well as Gorkline Rampager. It's basically a 3-mana, 3-power creature that can trade with, most of the other three toughness guys from the opponent, but it also takes one of their best creatures away.
Yeah,
so.
That's a card that I've kind of
We brought up as like, I like it as in a Jund deck, potentially as a sideboard card, as sort of a beatdown plan. There's a lot of sort of controller decks that are things like, just Nabnir Restoration Angel or whatever, and it just incidentally pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I think that card's very powerful. We've seen a lot more of it, and the sideboard play it's seeing now might be. I could see a couple sneaking into main decks over the next couple
Yeah,
weeks.
I mean, it's a very powerful card. It's very Vendilion Clique-esque, where it's a 3-mana spell.
That's a great comparison.
Yeah, I mean, it has Intimidate, which is similar to Flying. It can take your opponent's best card out of their hand, and it's insane. I really like it a lot, and I think it should be seeing more main deck play than it is. But
question: do you think the metagame at next weekend's Invitational out in New Jersey is going to favor that? Are there going to be less green-white creatures? Is Scavenging? I guess the question from there is Scavenging Goose going to scare away the Angels, Serenities, and Thragtusk a little bit?
I don't think it's going to scare away the Thragtusk.
Well, not necessarily.
Sure.
Junk Reanimator, is that falling out of favor?
I think it's definitely falling out of favor. It's not nearly as good as it was. Although, real quick, AJ is mulliganing down to 5 here against the red deck. On the draw, this could be backbreaking. And I say that because AJ's been having back problems lately. But no one really understands the puns that I make. They're just way too deep. It's like Inception, punception. Yeah, anyway. So,
Ruben's gladly enjoying this from the sideline.
Yeah. So, I do think that Angel Serenity is getting a lot worse. Simply because Umberrites is getting a lot worse. If people decide to just play an insane amount of ramp to cast their Angel Serenity, then it would still be played, but I don't think that's feasible with all of the really awesome removal in the format, all the bonfires in the format, all the Supreme Verdicts and things like that. I just think that it's dangerous to play ramp spells that are creatures. And when you can't play ramp spells or creatures and you can't play Umberrites, then that makes for a bad Angel of Serenity. So I really like Thragtusk out of the Jund decks. I think it's one of the easiest ways for them to stabilize alongside a couple of removal spells against the aggressive decks. Sorry, go ahead.
Do you like Zombie against those decks? We'll talk about that in a second after this game, but
sure. Well, the dreaded Stromkirk Noble, and coming to play tapped Isolate Chapel from AJ means no Tragic Slip before it gets a counter.
So AJ now has to morbid up a Tragic Slip if he wants to kill that.
Yeah.
Drew has no 2-drop, but that's okay. We got the 1-drop that's good enough for everything.
That just means his hand's full of absolute gas. So it's probably all Hell Riders and Electrickeries. And, well, there's a Krenko's Command, and I think he has a Weapon Surge too.
Yep.
So
Champion of the Parish comes down for AJ, and another coming to play tapped land.
Yeah, so I don't think AJ is going to be able to race, but he does have another Champion of the Parish in hand and a Tragic Slip. So if he battles in for 2 here, and Drew accepts a double block, then a Tragic Slip from AJ could kill the Stromkirk Noble and put him back in the game.
I don't think Drew will fall for that.
He also has a Weapon Surge too. He may block with both, see if AJ does anything, and then Weapon Surge one of them to give it first strike, which will kill the champion. But like you said, it's probably not going to happen, but it could potentially.
I think AJ is kind of debating what his line is. He also has a Cartel Aristocrat, and he can guaranteed get this Tragic Slip up next turn. But
yeah, but at what cost? Like all you have in play is Champions of the Parish. I don't know. All right, well, he decides to hold back on defense, maybe trade off with some Goblin tokens, but
prevents Drew from destroying one of his champions with anything other than a Pillar of Flame.
It looks like Drew is still kept in Skullcrack. I don't think it's that good, man. I don't know.
I'm with you. It does not progress my board state. Maybe Drew's thinking that this matchup will just bog down too much for him to have anything other than burn spells in his hand.
Right. Well, a Swamp from AJ is going to allow him to play a Cartel Aristocrat here and hold up for Tragic Slip. I think he may have a Lingering Souls as well. Definitely a Doomed Traveler that I saw. So a lot of options for AJ, even though he mulled the 5 and stalled out a little bit early on. Looks like a Gather the Townsfolk is going to pump up the champions a little bit. Maybe allow him to get a little aggressive. If Drew goes for the chump block, that's going to let Tragic Slip, do some work.
Yeah, like this isn't even the line that absolutely destroys the Noble, and it still feels really bad for Drew.
Yeah. An alternate line, if Drew decides to Weapon Surge and double block the 4/4 Champion of the Parish, AJ could also just Tragic Slip one of them, and that would ultimately kill, both tokens and the Weapon Surge for just a Tragic Slip.
It would not kill the Noble, and that's the real problem. AJ dropped into 11. Noble does 4. Noble is lethal in 2. The question is, can AJ kill Drew Levin before that? Also, I guess AJ's Cartel Aristocrat negates that question because AJ can kill that Noble before that.
Yeah, Drew here contemplating using Amizium Mortars, I think, or to wait a turn to overload it. However, one more counter on the big Champion of the Parish and 2 more on the little Champion of the Parish means that neither of those are going to die to the overload. And if he does decide to just cast the Amizium Mortars to kill the 4/4 Champion of the Parish, that's going to allow AJ's Tragic Slip to take away all of Drew's offense. He has a Dyna Charge, it looks like a Weapon Surge, and Amizium Mortars. So
AJ dropping to 7 on the attack. Not a lot of burn though, not that scary to be at 7 against this red deck.
yeah, I think here the safe play is probably play Cartel Aristocrat, attack with your 2 big creatures, and then
Tragic
maybe
Slip
on your
whenever.
opponent's turn Tragic Slip and kill his big Stromkirk Noble. Just moving around the die, don't worry about which one got which counter. The board stayed correct. Don't worry. A lot of people do that. It really irks me. I hate it when
Oh,
they
the
just
up 2?
Yeah, they just instead of
Alright.
putting one on each, they just up the smaller one.
It's a remnant from the old suspend days, I think.
Yeah.
You'd have 2 Ancestral Visions and you go one the other.
So AJ is shoving in with 4, 9, 11 power.
Drew's just gonna take, I think.
I don't know if he should or shouldn't. This is pretty gross to be sure. It looks like all the wins kind of taken out of his sails because he has cards like Skullcrack left in his deck after sideboard when, the only thing really that's gaining life is Blood Artist. So
Yeah.
if that was, another Stromkirk Noble or,
Well,
I
it's
guess,
not like he's boarding that out.
Sure. If it were just like another board relevant spell, maybe he would be in this game. That's something he could have had earlier on.
I don't know if that's true even. It might just be that I don't know. I actually don't know what board relevant spell would break through here.
It's possible that Drew actually looked at this matchup and said, is Burning Tree Emissary actually going to get me through this? Not really. It's just going to be a 2/2. It's going to get blocked by a bunch of tokens.
I'm not going to get anywhere.
Is Firefist Striker really going to get through? Not really. I'm just going to board into this Stromkirk Noble Burn Electricity deck.
Sure. This game though, AJ definitely stumbled a lot, and if the cards in his hand were just creatures, I think he would have been able to attack into the champions early, and AJ probably wouldn't have been able to block if it was a Firefist Striker. Maybe he takes like 2 or 3 extra damage from the Krinko's command alongside a Foundry Street Denizen that got sided out.
And then that puts him into Dyna Charge range.
Yeah, that puts him into range for a lot of things, I think. But it's all in the past now. Right now we are looking to Weapon Surge to first strike out these human tokens. I think AJ's completely fine with that. And then he's just going to Tragic Slip and kill the Stromkirk Noble.
Yep.
I think it was probably a better play to double block the 4/4 Champion of the Parish. I think that would have probably
saved more damage here as well.
Yeah, save more damage, but also if AJ wants a Tragic Slip there, Drew has Dyna Charge on the swing back with the Stromkirk Noble, so it could have allowed for a mistake from AJ as well.
Can we call this the Overload theme deck? Because I think we're about to see a Amizium Mortars.
That's true, but it's not going to be good enough. I guess Drew still has one more turn to peel a Hidetsugu 7/10 right. Well, I don't know. 6 mana,
my
deal
God.
7. Searing Flush and a land.
Ruben's doing some math here to come up with the right fraction.
Well, he's going to have to chump block the Champion of the Parish next turn. So if he overloads Mizium Warriors here, I guess there's no point in
overload.
Overload, he should just kill the 4/4.
Yep.
Because AJ can just sack the 4/4 to protect the Cartel Aristocrats.
I think you might want to. Yeah, you have to fire it off at the 4/4 because then you don't lose both of your guys on chump block. If he fires it off at the Aristocrats, they can just be like, yeah, sure, fine, take it. You know, lose the Aristocrat. Who cares if it lives or dies? The 4/4 is relevant because Drew is at 4.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a whole lot of peels here from Drew next turn that can potentially win him the game because he's going to be on defensive with his Goblin tokens. You know, the Dyna Charge is not even lethal here, so.
Yeah, the Sideboarding Mark community isn't even enough if we brought it in because of the Aristocrat being able to sacrifice anything.
Yeah, or, you know, if he targets the Cartel can give itself protection from red. So
yeah.
I think this is game, boys. I think this is it.
Yep.
So I'm at a loss for words as
that's an
how
appropriate way to that would be a loss for Drew Levin.
Yeah.
His Goblin tokens die and AJ gets it for lethal.
Yeah, so even though AJ mulliganed and had a slow start, I think that Drew's deck kind of fell to pieces there at the end.
It felt like he kind of boarded out of being a red deck
or a creature-based red deck.
Yeah,
it was more like a burn-based red deck.
Yeah, and maybe he didn't have enough burn, and maybe he couldn't punish AJ for a bad draw, and that may have been important.